My name is ROLLY Ali. I am taking up Masters of Education, major in Educational Management under Lyndon A. Queenis in Advanced Philosophy of Education with Curriculum Planning and Design and Evaluation. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the meaning of philosophy of education, the scope of philosophy of education, the nature of philosophy of education, and the modes of philosophical inquiry. The word philosophy literally means love of wisdom or passion of learning. It is derived from the two Greek words, phileo means love, and sophia means wisdom. This tells us something about philosophy, but not much, because many disciplines seek wisdom. Since times immemorial, there have been various pursuits for unfolding the mystery of the universe, birth and death, sorrow and joy. Various ages have produced different thoughts throwing light upon the mystic region. The ultimate truth is yet to be found out. This eternal quest for truth lends the origin of philosophy. A love of wisdom is the essence for any philosophy investigation. Another definition of philosophy is the branch of science that study about beings in the ultimate causes, reasons, principles through the aid of human reasons alone. On the other hand, the word education is derived from Latin words educere, means bring up or bring forth what is within, to bring out the potential or the skills. Education in the largest sense is any act or experiences that has formative effect on the mind, character, or physical ability of an individual. In its technical sense, education is the process by which society deliberately transmits its accumulated knowledge, skills, and values from one generation to another. And Webster defined education as to develop the knowledge, skills, and character of individual. Scope of philosophy of education, it includes the interpretation of human nature, the world and their relation to man. How are we connected with each other, the man and the universe? According to Andrew Young, by gazing we connect, by knowing we connect, and by identifying we connect. Our bodies are similar to intergalactic matters. Our products of culture are similar to the products of nature. We are similar to the universe. Through the connections with the universe, we are able to obtain knowledge and feel that we belong, both conducive to happiness. And happiness, according to Aristotle, is the ultimate human end. Second, interpretation of aims and ideals of education. What are those aims and ideals of education? They are character building, man-making, harmonious human development, preparation for adult life, development for citizenship, utilization for leisure, training for civic life, training for international living, achieving social and national integration, scientific and technological development, education for all, equalizing educational opportunities, and strengthening democratic political order and human source development. Speaking of educational for all, or equalizing educational opportunities, in the Philippines, there are some regions that rank as the poorest performance, and that is the autonomous region of Muslim Mindanao. But with the help of BRAC, the largest development NGOs in the world, was requested by the Australian Agency for the National Development in the Department of Education. Through BRAC, the teachers and parents, especially the children, and the community enrollment rate increased. The quality of education became better, and that was also with the aid of instructional materials provided by the agency.
For many years, the state of education in the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or ARMM, has been a big challenge for everyone. ARMM has consistently ranked the poorest performance among the regions in the country in terms of basic education indicators, namely gross enrollment, school participation, completion, and dropout rates. The Autonomous Region also has a large number of out-of-school children, and many barangays still lack government schools. Contributing to the poor educational performance in ARMM is the high incidence of poverty, unstable peace and order due to years of armed conflict, and inadequate government facilities which hinder access to formal education, particularly in remote communities.
But the ears are not open. Inhati na iinom, di mabutao, no? Okay.
Through the Basic Education Assistance in the ARMM, the Alternative Delivery Model, or ADM project, was developed as one of the major strategies to help address the issues regarding access to education for the disadvantaged communities and out-of-school children in the Autonomous Region. In recognition of its highly successful primary education program in Bangladesh and other countries, BRAC, the largest development non-government organization in the world, was requested by the Australian Agency for International Development, or AusAid, and the Department of Education to share its experiences and strategies in alternative education delivery by managing the implementation of the ADM project in the Autonomous Region. The 5-year ADM project targets poor and remote or conflict-affected communities with a large number of children who are not in school and where public schools are lacking or difficult to access. The main feature of the ADM project is the establishment and operation of BRAC Learning Centers or BRAC schools, where preschool or elementary education classes are offered in targeted priority communities. The ADM project is implementing the Department of Education's K-12 curriculum for the kindergarten and elementary educational systems. The curriculum contents and instructional materials are also contextualized in the ARMM culture, where most of the children are Muslims. Learning facilitators in BRAC schools practice mother tongue-based instruction, particularly in the preschool and grade 1 to grade 3 levels, to facilitate learning, as well as enhance children's appreciation of their unique culture and diverse ethnicity. The classroom setup, procedures, and instructional techniques also utilize the BRAC technology and experience. Learners in the BRAC learning centers are selected mainly from the dropouts and non-enrolled students in public schools. Each center has an average of 30 pupils, where preschoolers on the average are 5 years old and grade 1 learners are from 6 to 9 years old. BRAC produces happy and highly performing learners. They're eager to come to school every day, which complements BRAC's distinctive character. Lots of fun, play, creative activities, and critical thinking. Each child is important. Inferior learners are now confident, socially interactive, inquisitive, and motivated. Learning facilitators serve as teachers in the BRAC learning centers. They are residents in the community and were endorsed by the parents and community leaders. Prior to the actual classes, learning facilitators receive BRAC's 2-week foundation training. To advance their competencies, learning facilitators also undergo monthly refresher training and continuous instructional supervision and support. Ample, varied, and appropriate teaching and learning materials for both the facilitators and learners also characterize a BRAC Learning Center. The materials are enriched in the local setting, and they were developed by BRAC curriculum specialists and writers with direction from the DepEd ARMM and DepEd Central Office consultants. Through the School Parents Forum, parents of the learners as well as the community enjoy active participation in school activities and even render free time to support the learning facilitators.
Nung nag-provide ang BRAC ng teacher guide, doon ko nalaman paano yung step ng pagkatuto ng mga bata, yung pagtuturo. Before matuto yung mga bata, dapat muna i-familiarize sa kanila yung mga sounds, rhymes ng mga letters, numbers. Estudyante ko, 3 sa kanilang 10 years old. Until now, they don't know the letters, they don't know the numbers, they don't know kung ilan yung dalawa. Ngayon, unti-unti na silang nag-change. Yung manipulative toys, grabe yung itulong niya sa amin. Kasi through that puzzle, especially yung puzzle, through that puzzle, na ang daling na yung cognitive ng bata, ang daling ma-develop. Then yung isang games din, yung toys din na abacus, with that true na nakita nila yan, alam na nila yung na-identify nila yung colors. Yung mag-subtract at saka addition. Then actually, marami talagang out of school youth. Naglalaro lang sa labas, nangingisda. Yung iba na farmer, yun lang ginagawa nila na noong tinayo itong BRAC Learning Center na ang daming nag-enroll.
Always kami may klase. Yun ang sabi nila, mas sa isip nila, nakabubuti daw ang BRAC kasi yung bata, continue ang learning. Parang, parang na-feel ko talaga, gumaling sila. Kasi yung sa lesson namin sa Pilipino, sa bawel, pagkatapos kito sa blackboard, pag pumunta ako sa evaluation, pakunin ko silang slate, kung talagang alam nila kung saan ang vowel sound at saan ang duo ng mga katinig o patinig consonant. Masaya ako. Kasi madali silang matuto sa slate. Effective talaga ang slate. Supported man ang mga parents sa akin kasi kung sinasabi ko sa kanila na may meeting tayo, may kailangan ako sa iyo, nagko-cooperate sila lahat sa akin.
Ang kaniya, pasod ti ang school. Ba't supaya ina nahalaman niya pang school na. Kalumura-murahan makatalos si Sally, makasimayong. Number siga maka-school. Pasalaman niya pang gasto kami. Magsukul ako ni Parinta, ni Mabrak, niya ma-school ito, pamuan, Tiyabadyawan. Panabang makami, banan badyaw, supaya makatao sa anak-anak kami. At tao anula, tatao masa.
Masipag, masipag. Ganon, marunong magturo. Tsaka kahit na malayo yung sa kanila, nandito pa rin siya kahit ulan. Ganon, nandito rin. Kahit mainit ang araw, nandito rin siya. Hindi ko sinabi na ganon, pero nakita ko talaga ng mata ko. Ganon ang ko sa kanya. Masipag talaga magturo si Ma'am Nora. Kahit ako sabi ko, kawawa ang mga anak ko talaga. Yun, sabi ko maglakad lang doon. Yun talaga, pag narinig namin na may itatayo dito na kinder na school, sabi ko, tuwang-tuwa talaga ako dahil sabi ko, yung anak ko makapag-aral na ng kinder. At saka dito pa sabi ko, ang malapit. Yun. Kung wala lang na ilagay dito ang school, hindi ko papag-aralin yung anak ko dahil kawawa.
Launched in 2012, BRAC has already established 1,010 learning centers across the provinces of Maguindanao, Lanao del Sur, Tawi-Tawi, Sulu, and Basilan, which catered to Maguindanaon, Teduray, Maranao, Iranon, Bajau, Sama, Tausug, and Yakan children. Reputable non-government organizations working in ARMM were selected to partner with BRAC in the establishment and operation of BRAC Learning Centers. Within the 5-year project period, BRAC will establish a total of 1,800 learning centers, benefiting at least 50,000 out-of-school children in the island provinces of Sulu and Basilan and the remotest areas of the autonomous region. Reaching almost all tribes, BRAC creates an opportunity for quality basic primary education for underprivileged yet deserving children. Finally, BRAC is optimistic that the majority of out-of-school children in the autonomous region will have acquired preschool and elementary education and have contributed to the improvement of overall basic education performance in the entire ARMM.
Next, the relationship of various components of the system of education. There are 9 essential components of successful education system. There are standards, assessments, accountability, professional development, school autonomy, parent involvement, learning readiness, technology, safety and discipline. Then, relationship of education and various areas of national life, such as state and education. What is the role of the state to education? The main function or role of the state is to provide education to citizens. Education prepares citizens for the state. Even in the ancient time of Greece, the two city-state, the Sparta, education controlled by the state, and the Athens were provided education by the state for preparing its children for citizenship. Also, Adolf Hitler of Germany and Benito Mussolini of Italy, the autocratic rulers, also provided an education according to their policy and principles. In the Philippines, education is a public or state function, as mandated in the 1987 Constitution, which states that the state shall protect and promote the right of citizens to quality education and shall take the appropriate steps to make such education accessible to all.
Mahinungdanon kaayo ang edukasyon tungod kay unang-una dinhimin na nakakatun, pagkwinta, pagsulat, pagbasa, o pinaka-importante din ha, kadtong mawala ang diskriminasyon, isip lumad. Sa una nga wala pa ang edukasyon, pag na-estudyante nga mo lugsong sa baryo, inyo nga manubo, walay grado, manubo, kawatag kawo. Nagay mga kasinatian nga, siyempre, dili ka basa ang lumad, tagaan ra nilang papel. Nya papermahon, tagaan lang og mga dilata, mga bulad, ginamos, o gawan pa. Nya papermahon, da ito, so dili man siya kabalo magbasa. Ang sulod ay adto sa mining na. So, mas importante siya para mawala ang diskriminasyon, isip lumad, mailang nga tao. Kay kuan naman daw may second class. Makabot ang karapatan sa sariling pagpapasya o madepensahan ang yutang kabilin. Nag-graduate ko og elementary sa Thrift Store sa Tribal Filipino Program of Surigao del Sur. Ang Alcadev usa siya ka alternative school nga nagabase sa secondary level. Estudyante pud ko din sa una. Pare-register siya sa BALS or Bureau of Alternative Learning System. Provide kay education sa mga remote areas. Gina-focus na mo kung unsa to ang mga subject na pinakahaom sa kultura sa lumad. Number 1 namo dinhi ang agriculture. Kay haom siya sa katawhan nga naa dinhi haom siya sa kultura sa mga lumad. Kay ingon pa, land is our life. Dili mabuhi kung wala ang lupa. Pinaka-importante gid sa lumad ang lupa. Mao nang gipahaom na mo subay ra sa naa sa palibot o unsay dapat nilang angay ipalambo. Kanay pinaka-importante dinhi nga kinahanglan ipalambo ang kultura para dili mawala. Labi na sa mga bata karon nga bagong subang kana kinahanglan siyang ipadayon.
Ora man gihapon sa amo nga third year major subject gihapon namo is agriculture. Tapos doon na may 8 ka subject, values education, sunod history, sunod Filipino, tapos math, science, THCE, agriculture, English. Para sa ako ang amo eskwelahan, usa siya ka agricultural tungod kay nagpalambo mi sa sigutan ng pang-ekonomiya nga bahin. Ug kining among gipang tanom sa among farm time, mao kini isab ang makadugang-dugag suporta sa among pangkonsumo diri sa Tulunghang Alcadib.
Kami sa mga ginikanan naa sa among kanang mag-uma para isuporta sa mga kabataan. Nanumaan ng mga mais o pagka-harvest ihatag na mo sa mga kabataan aron nga ilang makaon. Apil ang mga teacher na counterpart nga among ihatag didto sa among mga kamuti, mga ulayon. Ang kalainan kadtong wa pa eskwelahan sa mga katawhan sama sa amo nga layo ang eskwelahan. Didto in taon mi sa magulang nako sa Agusan. Unya ako didto ko nakatungha. Tama ra sab ko grade 5 kay naguli naman din mao tong wa na sab ko maka-eskwela. Kay tungod lagi sa kalayo. Eskwelahan unya way ka gasto sa ginikanan. Gipa-eskwela namo sa Alcadib, eskwelahan. Tungod kay libre ang edukasyon diha. Dito mi sa ubos so may mahimo namo kay pobre man intawon mi. Ang Alcadib mao ang gitukod sa mga lumad. Ang katawhang lumad aron sa pagpaedukar sa mga kabataan nga libre. Gipangunahan sa mga madre ug ubang pang ahensya sa gobyerno. Inubanan sab sa mga ginikanan nga nagtambayayong sa mga eskwelahan.
Threats, bisan man tuod napatyan may director, pero wala na namo gihimong babag sa amo ang pagtudlo dinhi, pagpadayon dinhi sa pagserbisyo sa mga lumad, pag-edukar sa mga lumad. Himo na mo na siyang sumbanan nga mas mulig-on, mas mupadayon o nagsaulog mi sa amo ang Foundation Day. Timaan kini nga nagpabilin mig lig-on, nagpabilin ming nakigbisog para sa amo ang alternatibo nga eskwelahan ug sa inubanan sa komunidad.
Magdaw na pagdatong sa ika-13 nga pagsaulog sa Foundation Day sa Alcadib, dayon kamo.
Ginikanan dako kay na akong pasalamat sa mga teachers sa Alcadib tungod kay nagtimbayayong sa amo bisan tuod lisod din pero naganto sila tungod sa among mga anak ug labi na sab sa kami nga mga ginikanan nga nagsuporta sa ilaha.
Paisip lumad, mas nakita na ako nga mas kinahanglan ko sa dinhi sa eskwelahan, labi na kay fit akong course nga akong gikuha. Mas dako kong matabang sa ilaha dinhi kay mas dali pud ko maka-adjust tungod kay parihara may og culture.
Taliwala sa mga panghasi, panghadlok, Di sa pamanluyo ni Ana, kuwa mahat nga katawhan, nagmaningkamot gihapon ng barog, nakigbisog alang sa among sumusunod. Padayon gihapon nga magbarog, kung makigbisog ang mga kabataan.
Mahuman ko sa alkadib nga tulunghaan, nya mubalik og teacher sa trips nga eskwelahan. Tabangan na ako ang mga bata na nanginahanglan po og edukasyon.
Another, the economic system and education. The economic system and its development is essentially connected with the educational system because knowledge is the basis of any economic system.
Well, she went to college for a biology course. And she chose that course because she wanted to become a doctor. And I thought that Sabrina would make a very, very good doctor.
I took BS Biology from Ateneo de Manila University because I wanted to become a doctor.
I sent her to one of the most expensive schools, Ateneo, with the thought that if I invest something, I get something back. So it's in economics, it's return on investment. And so when she told me that she's going to be a teacher, and I said, "Are you serious?"
The decision to go into teaching was very hard for me.
Some doubts came to my mind that what is going to be her career path as a teacher.
Gusto ko po maging isang magaling na piloto.
Si Ivan, madaldal din niya na bata, makwento, lagi niyang kinukwento kung ano yung nangyayari sa kanya sa everyday. Tapos sabi niya gusto niya maging piloto. Siyempre, alam natin na matatanda na medyo mataas ang kailangan mong pera para maiano mo yung pagkapiloto. So ang sabi na lang namin mag-asawa, mag-aral ka mabuti, galingan mo, may mga scholarship kang pwedeng makuha. Yung kay Teacher Sab kasi, nakukwento lang niya na may bago daw silang teacher na magaling. Kung noon hindi niya kinukwento ang teacher, ngayon nagkukwento siya regarding sa teacher.
Si Ma'am Sabrina, yung favorite kong teacher kasi magaling siya magturo at naiintindihan ko yung itinuturo niya.
I think that moment when I saw her, when I went to her class and observed the way she teaches, that moment really was what you call the tipping point. And I started to be proud of what her achievements were.
Teaching gave me a different view on leadership. Teaching is all about standing there in front of your students and guiding them towards their dreams, their goals. That's a different kind of leadership.
And now that I have a daughter who is a teacher like her, I felt so proud. And those doubts about the economic return to my investment just faded away. I began to think that if this is what you call intangibles in economics, and that is the social benefits I get from my investments to her being in Ateneo and now as a public school teacher.
I don't pity my students. I began to understand where they are coming from. Because when you pity them, it's like you're telling them you're still above them. But as a teacher, as their teacher, if I am above them, I can't help them move up. I need to go down lower so I can push them up. For me, when I stand there and I look at the faces of these kids, that for me is very powerful. Hearing their dreams and working with them to reach those dreams, that's really what I want my life to be about.
Education is very important. There is a strong correlation between education and development of a country. And it is very important for us to elevate the level of education.
I think education is the foremost indicator of how a country will progress, particularly how the access to education is applicable to everyone in the nation, whether they're rich or poor, that the same quality of education is accessible to all.
Any country that's planning forward, looking for success, is focusing on its educational base. I feel it should be the same way for the Philippines. To see Teach for the Philippines getting engaged, attracting young fellows, as they call them, leaders coming out of the university system, both in the Philippines and abroad, who want to give back to the Philippines and getting them engaged, I guess, in the educational system of the country, is just such an exciting initiative at this point in time.
Teach for the Philippines benefits the students because clearly we'll have very motivated teachers that will enter the teaching profession. But in fact, I do believe that it will be the teachers and the fellows who will benefit the most from this program.
HSBC supports Teach for the Philippines for the very simple reason that we need leaders. We need leaders of men. We need leaders who are able to withstand extreme stress.
We've seen time and time again that young people who dedicate a couple of years at the beginning of their career to giving back to young students has led to them opening up avenues for themselves later on in so many exciting ways. Even myself as a professional, I think it would be exciting to find those people later on after they've given back to the country and find some way to bring them certainly to the corporate sector, the kind of skills that they would pick up, the sense of giving back, the sense of commitment to a social development agenda and not just one of a profit agenda. I think that combination is a very powerful one to see in a young person.
I do think that if people are more understanding and can place themselves in the shoes of other people, I think this would be a much better country overall.
I guess by participating in Teach for the Philippines, for all those young students who get engaged, it's just a chance to really make a fundamental difference to the educational system and contribute in some way. Let's all leave a mark for the future of education in the Philippines.
I encourage the youth, those that just finish their studies, and those that are young professionals. Challenge yourself. Leave a mark on the Philippines. Immerse in this program. Sa atin magsisimulang pagbabago.
Leave your mark on the Philippines. I encourage you to join Teach.
Values. Values is typically a philosophical subject since it is more abstract, integral, and universal. According to J. Ruskin, education does not mean teaching people to know that they do not know. It means teaching them to behave as they do not behave. Next is the theory of knowledge and its relationship to education. Education is knowledge. It is determined by the source, limits, criteria, and means of knowledge. Curriculum is one of the scope of philosophy of education. A curriculum is considered a heart of any learning institution. In education, a curriculum is broadly defined as the totality of student experiences that occur in the educational process. What is the importance of the curriculum? The common goals of curriculum is to create shared goals between teachers and students. Curriculum also standardizes the learning goals for an entire school and provides a clear path for students to progress from one grade to another. Another scope of philosophy of education is school organization and management, discipline. Another one is the school organization. Refers to how school arrange the resources of time, space, and personnel for maximum on students' learning. The school's organizational plan addresses those issues that affect the school and as a whole. Next is the school management. School managers, leaders, and administrators are the CEOs of school districts and individual schools. What are their roles? They prepare budgets, oversee the teachers, hire and manage teachers and staff, research and determine other new curricula, lead public and private educational institutions, and set policies and standards. The nature of philosophy of education. There are three branches in the nature of philosophy of education, namely metaphysics, epistemology, and axiology. What is metaphysics? It is a branch of philosophy that investigates principles of reality and existence. It is concerned with explaining the fundamental nature of human and world. And we have some known and great metaphysicians contributed in the philosophy of education. Epistemology is a branch of philosophy concerned with knowledge, especially with regards to its methods, validity, and scope. It is also an investigation of what distinguishes justified belief from opinion. And here are the three conditions: perception, belief, and truth. Axiology is the branch of philosophy that considers the study of principles and values such as ethics and aesthetics. Ethics talks about morals and personal values, and aesthetics talk about what is beautiful, enjoyable, and tasteful. And lastly, the modes of philosophical inquiry. Inquiry should be structured coherently. One must make sense of what self-awareness unfolds of his environment to him. Man must react and respond to external problems around him. Man must be aware of inadequacies of past habits, which give rise to hesitancy and uncertainty. Man must be aware of uncertainty. And the three modes of philosophical inquiry are logic, metapragmatic, and phenomenology.